Hi everyone, and welcome to our next GL assessment homework review video for year 5. This video is going to focus on some of the week 5 content for block 5, of course, and we're going to be going through some verbal reasoning activities. There are actually going to be 2 videos. They are both very much focused on verbal reasoning, but this is the first one, so hopefully you'll be able to go through and mark your homework. So just to show you what this relates to, so if we bring up the slides, then if I get rid of Billy, we bring up our slides here. We've got 2, as you can see, the 2 week 5 columns show quite a lot of let's tasks that we're going to work through. I'm going to be focusing on this video in these particular tasks here. So we're going to be looking at letter analogies, letters for numbers, number sequences, and also move a letter question types. So we're going to focus on all of those and you'll be able to mark these through. So we're looking forward to doing these. So let's have a look first of all at the book, of course, just to remind you what book we're going to be using, and then I will put Billy up in the corner. So this is the book that we're going to be referring to. It is a really good idea to have your word and meaning book out. We always state that in your homework review videos, but just in case there are any words that you don't know, then you can easily add those down. So let's put Billy in the corner so we don't get distracted. Let's go down through these homework tasks for week 5. So the first thing we're going to look at is letter analogies, and this is test 33 in your books. So make sure, please, that you have this book out. Of course, it is a good idea when we go through the video, if you do want to pause it at any stage, you can. This is actually on page 38 if you prefer to refer to the page numbers rather than the test numbers. So this is on page 38 and we're looking at letter analogies. Just a little reminder about how we approach these. So we look at the first letter. So in this instance it's B to C, and of course that's quite a simple jump, it's just +1. We then go to our letter and then we're going to add 1 on there, so that becomes N. And then the second letter we're going to go from D to F. What's that jump? It's actually +2. So then we go to our letter in our pair and it's O, and we're going to +2 from there, and of course we get Q. So the really important thing here is counting accurately along the alphabet. We also talk about what happens, of course, when we get to Z, and one of the reasons we always add the letters, few letters on the end, is just to make sure we don't miss that as a jump. And of course, likewise, when we get to A, of course we go to Z. So let's just have a little look at the answers for test 33 and you'll be able to check these through. Now what we've done, we've actually put down the side what the jumps are. So if there's any doubt and you didn't get any right, then you can just double check your counting. And I think the counting on the alphabet here, of course, is crucial. So we've got EB, LU, IL, PS, and then HL. That's the first 5 questions, but if you get any wrong, what we'd ask you to do, please, is look at the first letter and the second letter and see where those jumps might have gone incorrectly. It doesn't always mean just because it's, for example, on number 1 it says +3 for the first, it's +3 for the second, but then if you look at number 2, it's actually -11 for the first and then -7. So just because you've worked out the first letter doesn't always mean it will be the same for the second. There are some where they are the same, of course, but there are some that are also different. Let's go and have a look at the next 5. So we've got OM, PS, UR, LQ and KP. So again, well done if you managed to get all of those correct. They're not easy. Some of them are quite big jumps, but also just checking them really carefully in the counting along the alphabet. What we'd also suggest is you use the multiple choice sheet, because if you look at the first letter and you check your multiple choice sheet, it might be you don't need to work out the second letter. And it also can help you limit your choices. Let's have a look at the next letter analogies. So this is test 53. I'll just confirm what page that is for you. If I just double check in my particular book to make sure that I send you to the right page. And these are on page 59. Page 59. So again, what we've done is we've given you the amount of jumps down the side. So RN, UX, YX, PO, WA. Then we've got UP, TX, SA, RP, and then LQ. So do put a mark out of 10. If you got any wrong, then just again, as we said in the first round of the letter analogies, do check the jumps. See if you were accurate with your jumping. Well done. Let's move on to the next set of questions. And I know this is one of our favourites. This is letters for numbers, and this is on test 34. And for letters and numbers, it's all about being really good with your knowledge of operations. So this is actually on page 39. So if you need to follow the page numbers, that makes it easier for you. You can double check your letters for numbers. Now we've done the jottings for you on these. So if you have a little look, we've done all the jottings underneath. And it is a really good idea to write the numbers underneath the letters, because each code is different. All the codes are different, but it also helps keep track of what your answers actually are. So once you've established your answer number, you are going to record it down as a letter. And of course, the letter will be one of the options from A to E. I think the most important thing here is to also observe BODMAS. And we all should know what BODMAS means. So it's brackets first, then order. Some of you might refer to that as I for indices. And then we've got division, multiplication, addition and subtraction. These two tend to be together. So it is important you observe BODMAS when you're going down through. So first one is A, then we've got E, A, B and A. So again, shown you quite clearly what those jottings should look like underneath. But you do need to be really accurate and also look very carefully at those different operations that you've got. It can be quite easy to slip up and not actually look at the operations carefully enough, because you might be trying to do them too quickly. Let's have a look at the next set. So we've got C, B, C, A and A. So again, if you do want to pause the video, you can. Sometimes the times tables do get quite large. So you've got here 9 times 12, for example. So if you don't already know up to 12 times 12, you really should do. But certainly even going beyond, maybe even learning your 13 times table, your 14 times table, definitely your 15s, and maybe even your 16 times table as well. So really don't just stop at 12 times 12. Worth moving up now and learning some of your harder times tables. Another round of letters for numbers. This is test 54. I'm just going to again clarify what page number that is for you. And we are on page 60 for these. So test 54, page 60, we've got another round of letters for numbers. So the first one we've got is E, D, A, E, and then D. Just will mention on question 5, which is quite interesting, you've got minus 1 rather times minus 2. And of course, when you get two negatives together, it makes a positive. So it will end up being 1 times 2 is 2, and then 2 times 7 gives you 14. So just be aware, if you get two minuses, that will make a positive. Let's have a look at the next one. We've got C for number 6, then we've got B, E for 8, B for 9, and then C for number 10. And again, just to gain proof how big sometimes the numbers can get. 168 divided by 12. Well done if you've managed to get those all correct. You can easily put a mark out of 10. Any you get wrong, just have a look back, check your calculations. Now we're moving on to move a letter, and this is test 36 in your Let's book. And again, if I direct you to the right page, you should be on page 41. Page 41. Now this will be a good opportunity, particularly in this section, to grab your word and meaning book. So that book I talked about at the beginning, so you can easily go through and record down any words that you don't know. So let's go and have a look at page 41. Now with these, we have to take one letter from the first word and it should jump into the second word, but making two new words, not just one. This is all about your knowledge of words vocabulary as well, because if you don't know if it's a word, then you're going to find it difficult. A couple of ones that I'll need to help you with here. So we've got lint. Now, if you didn't know what lint is, it's like fluff or something you might get on fabric, on clothes, and there's just a little illustration there. So if you didn't know what that was. Falter, which means to lose strength, is the second word that's created. So in this one, we're taking the F out, and it goes at the beginning. Now, the letter, of course, can go anywhere in the word. So the answer is F, and that's what you'd have on your multiple choice sheet. So on a multiple choice sheet, there will be 5 options. This is what it might look like. So if we've got Flint here, and then we'd have a series of boxes, and we'll be practicing this in block 6. It will be a case of choosing one of those letters. If there's a 6-letter word, they'll only put the first 5 letters, so it rules out one of those letters for you. So in this one, we're taking the F away, so the answer would be F, and you record that with a horizontal line. Packed and lined becomes paste and linked. K moves. Latter and meal, we've got later and metal. Then we've got gash, and then so that becomes gash and donor. A gash is a cut. So if you didn't know what a gash was, and that's the N that's moving. Then we've got blind and ease becomes bind, which means to fasten, and then easel with an L. So well done if you've got that correct. And then the second part of this particular section, we've got chin, and then we could either make beat or abet. If you abet, you encourage or assist to commit a crime. So abetting is when you're encouraging someone to commit a crime. So that might be a new word for you. Then we've got rebel and stale, and that becomes real and stable. Then we've got pitch and rave becomes pith and crave. Now the pith is the white stuff that you get on the outside of an orange. So if I just put a circle, you can see these white bits. We call that the pith. So that's the C that comes out there. Then we've got odour and cell, and that's dower and cello. And then we've got galley and frail. And a galley is like a rowing boat. Frail means to be weak. Hopefully you got that. And then we've got another set of these. So if we go to test 56, we've got some more move a letter questions. And let's go down through and have a look at these. So we've got voice and cane becomes vice and canoe. So it was actually the O that was moving. And then we've got swamp and able becomes swap and amble. Amble to walk, so it's the M. Bound and case becomes bond and cause. It's the U. Found and butt becomes fund and bout. Like a boxing bout. And then we've got petal and ramp, and that becomes peel and tramp, so it's the T. Hope you managed to do well on those. We're now going to move on to the last 5 of these. Panel and cone becomes pane, like a window pane, and then clone. Fair and string becomes fur and staring. Purge and earl becomes urge and pearl. So it's the P that's moving. So it's the letter that you want to try and spot. But you do need to write the 2 words out in these. You won't need to do that in your exams though. Capes and teams, it's the M that moves from camps into tees. And then we've got gilt and once. Now a gilt is also a small piglet. So if you didn't know that, another good word for your word and meaning book. And then we've got ounce. Well done if you managed to get all of those. Some quite tricky vocabulary in there, so if you need to pause it and record any down, you can. And the last sections we're going to look at in this video are all about your number sequence knowledge. So we're going to have a little look at your number sequences. So this one is taking away 101 each time. You can see we've put the differences between the numbers just to help you. So do go down through and just double check what's happening to the sequence. 6,075. Then this one was quite tricky. You're taking one away, then dividing it by 3. And you need to do that each time on each step. I think the really important thing here as well is to remember the variations of the sequences you can have. Sometimes it might use addition, sometimes it might use subtraction, or multiplication, or division. So do test out all the different operations that you can use. 91 and 19. Then this one on question 6, we're taking away 30, 26, 22, 18 and 14. So 4 more each time, 28. This one was an alternate sequence. This is where we jump. So it's taking away 8 each time, but we're more concerned with these numbers in order to get our next number. This one you're actually pairing numbers together. So you're finding a third each time. So if you found a third of 102, you would get 34. Number 9 was an alternate sequence. Again, it was jumping but dividing by 5. So we were worried about the 40 and the 200. So if we divide 40 by 5, we of course get 8. This one we're taking 19 away each time for 295. And the last section we're going to look at is test 55. And we're going to work out now what these number sequences are doing. And this was the last section you needed to do for this part of your homework. And it's on page 61. So let's see how many of these you got right. This was multiplying by 3. So if we get 1053 times it by 3, we get 3159. This one, we had to take 4 away and then divide by 2 each time. So that jump there needs to be applied in this gap, in this gap, and this gap. So let's do it on our last number. 18 take away 4 gives you 14, divided it by 2 of course as well, and you get 7. Alternate sequence, take away 17 each time. So these are the two numbers we're concerned with. 72 and 55. 55 take away 17 is 38. These are all squared numbers, but they're decreasing. So we've got 16 squared, 15 squared, 14 squared, 13 squared, 12 squared, and then we know that 11 times 11 is 121. This one is taking 4 more each time away. So if we take 7 away from 105, we get 98. But again, by writing the jumps, it really clearly shows you what the answer is. This is now taking away half more each time. So it goes 80, 40, 20, 10, 5. So we're going to take 5 away from 13 to give us 8. An alternate sequence here. We're concerned with the 5 and the 1. And we're taking 4 away. So if we take 4 away from 1, of course we get to a negative number, which is -3. So sometimes you may have negative numbers as well. This is taking 3 more away each time. So we're going to take 1 away from 17 to give us 16. This is a consistent size on question 9, taking 18 away each time. So 18 away from 46 gives us 28. And this one is take 2, divide by 3. So let's again do it on our last one. Take 2, get 15, divide it by 3, and we get 5. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you find it useful. Hope you've done well with your homework, and we look forward to seeing you in our next live lesson. Well done. Bye.